Our story begins with a hiker named Alex, an experienced outdoorsman who's been trekking through a dense, remote forest for days. He's on a solo trip to disconnect from the chaos of city life and reconnect with nature. As the sun begins to set, Alex stumbles upon an old, weathered cabin nestled deep in the woods. It's clearly abandoned. The wooden planks are rotting, the roof is sagging, and the windows are cracked. But with night falling fast and a storm rolling in, Alex decides it's his best option for shelter. He pushes open the creaky door and steps inside. The cabin is musty and cold, with a thick layer of dust covering everything. The air smells of damp wood and decay. Alex sets down his backpack and begins to explore the small space. That's when he notices the walls. The walls are covered in large, framed portraits, dozens of them, floor to ceiling. Each one is a life-sized depiction of a person, men, women, and even a few children. The portraits are eerily realistic, almost photographic in quality. The subject's eyes seem to follow Alex as he moves around the room, and their expressions range from blank stares to faint, unsettling smiles. Alex feels a chill run down his spine. Who would decorate a cabin like this? And why? He tries to shake off the unease, telling himself it's just his imagination running wild. He picks a corner of the cabin to set up his sleeping bag, avoiding the gaze of the portraits as best he can. As night falls, the storm outside intensifies. Rain hammers against the roof, and the wind howls through the trees. Alex lies in his sleeping bag, trying to sleep, but the portraits seem to loom larger in the darkness. Every time he closes his eyes, he feels like he's being watched. At one point, he swears he hears a faint scratching sound coming from the walls, but he convinces himself it's just the wind or an animal outside. Eventually, exhaustion takes over, so Alex drifts into a fitful sleep. When Alex wakes up, the storm has passed, and sunlight streams through the cracked windows. He sits up, relieved that the night is over. But as he looks around the cabin, his blood runs cold. The portraits are gone. In their place are gaping holes in the walls, perfectly person-sized holes. The frames are still there, but now they're empty, revealing the dark, hollow spaces behind them. Alex's mind races. Were the portraits always holes? Was he hallucinating last night? He steps closer to one of the holes, peering into the darkness. The space behind the wall is cramped and narrow, like a hidden passageway. As Alex investigates further, he notices something even more horrifying. Inside the holes, there are faint scratch marks on the wood, as if someone, or something, had been clawing at it from the other side. He also finds scraps of fabric and strands of hair caught in the splintered edges of the holes. His heart pounds as he realizes the truth. The portraits weren't just decorations. They were windows, and whatever was on the other side had been watching him all night. Panicked, Alex grabs his backpack and bolts for the door, but as he steps outside, he freezes. The forest, once familiar, now feels alien and menacing. The trees seem to close in around him, and he can't shake the feeling that he's being followed. He starts running, but no matter how far he goes, he can't shake the sense that something is still watching him. Hours later, Alex finally stumbles upon a road and flags down a passing car. The driver, an older man, takes one look at Alex's pale, sweaty face and asks if he's okay. Alex tries to explain what happened, but the words tumble out in a jumbled mess. The man listens quietly, then says something that chills Alex to the core. "You're not the first person to come out of those woods talking about that cabin, but you're the first one to make it out alive." Alex never goes back to the woods. He tries to forget about the cabin, but the memory of those portraits, and what they really were, haunts him. Years later, he hears rumors about other hikers who've gone missing in the same forest. Some say the cabin is a trap, designed to lure people in. Others believe it's home to something ancient and malevolent, something that feeds on fear. Alex doesn't know what to believe. All he knows is that he'll never forget the feeling of being watched, or the realization that he was never alone in that cabin.